All right, welcome into another episode of the Ryan and Goodman podcast. I'm Jeff Goodman. He's Bob Ryan, and Bob's coming from his humble abode. I'm coming to you from the Residence Inn in downtown Indianapolis, where, Bob, the NCAA tournament starts today.
By the way, I want to know if they commemorate the fact that 68 years ago today, Don Schlunt and Bobby Slick Leonard led the Hoosiers to the championship, beating Kansas by 1 point. That should be like a civic holiday.
I haven't seen anything in Indy so far as I've walked around all day yesterday.
That, by the way, is the first tournament result of my youth that I was aware of a year later. Like, you know, when I don't remember that it happened then, but see, because the next year LaSalle won.
Oh, really?
And that was a big deal. We knew someone who had gone to LaSalle, and and I was getting into basketball, and I had come out anyway. And I learned that the year before Indiana had beaten Kansas. So anyway, one of their 5 championships. Of course, things aren't going so well lately with the Hoosiers. The first coach they had that couldn't even get to a tournament, and since God knows when, and that didn't work out so well, did it? What do you hear about a successor for
yeah, we'll start there. That's good. We can start. I didn't know where we wanted to start today. There's a lot to talk about.
You're in Indiana. You're in the heartland. You're the mother's milk of college basketball.
Well, we've said this over and over and over, and some people just can't grasp the fact that Brad Stevens is not leaving the NBA and the Boston Celtics for Indiana. Like, he's not going there, guys. Like, he's not leaving the Celtics, period. Yes, things aren't going swimmingly for him right now in Boston. He's struggling this year, obviously, but he's not going back to college right now. If something happens to him with the Celtics, he will be hired within 5 minutes for another NBA opening. So that's where his head's at right now. And Indiana, to me, so there's a lot of speculation out there about who will succeed Archie Miller at Indiana. One school of thought, Bob, is that they're going to go with a former player. They're going to go like a Mike Woodson or Keith Smart and surround those guys with college, recruiters. Because of Juwan Howard, I think now the narrative has started to change, and I'm not sure it should, because I think Juwan is an outlier. As a former NBA player who's been successful as a college head coach. Most of them have failed. And I don't think like Mike Woodson at 62 years old, who's never coached college, is going to be able to come in and get it done.
By the way, we can't get ahead of the story. Things are going great this year,
right? With
him.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that he's a long-term.
That's right.
It does not mean that it's 100% successful.
Right.
Unfortunately. Now, of course, he did the smart thing. He got the wise Yoda sitting next to him.
That helped.
Which you always need in those circumstances, I think. So anyway, I just wonder if any names were popping up. You mentioned a couple of those IU.
I think, I don't know. Like, if you want to go Keith Smart and surround him, like, I just think Indiana fans will be happy with that for now. But if they don't win, again, winning the press conference means nothing. Zero. So, like, if you're Scott Dolson, their AD, he's fairly new. To me, find a guy who, again, I thought Archie Miller was the right hire in a sense. I think he's a really good coach. I don't think he fit Indiana, Bob. And the problem was when he was hired 4 years ago. So he wanted Ohio State. He had coached as an assistant under Thad at Ohio State. And what happened was Indiana opened up, and Sean Miller, his brother, told him, you got to take it. You got to take it. You're at Dayton. You got to take it. Just like I did. I went Xavier to Arizona. You got to do it. He listened to Sean, and he didn't really want to go. And then all of a sudden, Ohio State opens 2 months later. So I think in his mind, it was always, man, like if I waited 2 more months, I could, because he doesn't like the fishbowl. He just wants to coach ball. And Indiana and Ohio State basketball are completely different.
That's foolish. That's naivete to the nth degree. You don't want fishbowl. You're going to go to a school like IU with the history, particularly. Oh my God, man, that's foolish. If that's the case,
so you got to have a guy, whoever you hire next, either. And I just don't think Indiana has a guy in the family that fits like Keith Smart. Mike Woodson, they haven't been in college. Like, I just don't think because Juwan Howard did it, it's going to work for everybody. So I would still get a stat. Listen, they have not reached out as of recording this podcast. We're recording Thursday morning. They have not reached out to Chris Beard or Scott Drew yet, which is incredible to me, which means leads me to believe, Bob, that they already have their guy. And is it like John Beilein? Is it one of those guys I just mentioned, the former IU Stars? Is it another coach currently coaching in the NCAA tournament that they're waiting to kind of finalize things with? We'll get more info, but that's kind of where we stand with Indiana right now.
Okay. All right. So you're in Indiana. You're heading up to Mackey Arena, where Tom Izzo was kiddingly saying that he thinks that Matt Painter should invite him over for brunch since he beat up on him a couple this year in our house. I didn't know this thing about. That's one of they're not on my 201 list. You know.
You've never been to Mackey?
I've never been to a game there.
Oh my goodness!
I was in West Lafayette once. We drove. We saw the campus, which I thought was better than people say. It has a.
I've never seen the sun.
They always put Purdue down, right?
Because the sun has never been out. I've never been in West Lafayette and seen the sun.
We were there in the summer, and I didn't think it was so horrible. You know,
it's probably not in the summer.
No, well, it looked fine to me. But anyway, I know it doesn't have the greatest reputation among Big Ten venues.
It's a great venue. Their fans.
I mean, the campus.
Right.
But I know the building. We saw the building. I think I saw the gym, but I always try to break into the gym, you know, when I'm going somewhere. But
little Rick Mount. Did you looking for the Rick Mount statue?
Oh well, no. But by the way, I had a breakfast in Lebanon, Indiana, in honor of Rick Mount once. Don't worry. I always try to pay homage to
one of the greatest.
And Scott Skiles, I had breakfast there too in Plymouth. You know, so anyway, that's a given.
So we'll go through a couple things. So I'm here now, and there's no feel to it yet. There's no atmosphere. Again, I walked around yesterday, and they're having a total, Bob, of 25 media for every game. That's all there is. 5 beat writers, 5 beat writers for each side, a couple national people, 25 people total. So there's no fans here yet. Okay. Again, it's still Thursday morning. We're a little bit early. We'll see what it's like. Next time I talk to you, I'll have a lot more information about like the atmosphere and everything like that. But the most interesting thing for me yesterday was I walked over to the baseball field, Victory Field.
Right. And tell me what it's really what it looks like.
So all the hotels, the great thing about Indy, if people don't know, for the Final Four is it's so condensed. Yeah. Everything is a 10-minute walk, no matter where. Right. So that's beautiful. So you can get around really easy. All the hotels. So Bob, on one hand, I'm like, this could be they should do this in the future. When life gets back to normal, imagine having all 68 teams and what the atmosphere would be in this city. If you had all 68 teams here, like it would be, for me, it's like a playground because I got every coach here. I could see them in their hotel rooms. I could, I could get so much done here. But obviously right now, they're only allowed out of their hotel rooms to go to practice, to go to games, and to go to Victory Field. They have time slots. So I went over there yesterday. I don't know if you saw my Twitter, but I took some pictures and took some videos from beyond the fence of the field is split up into like 3 or 4 sections. So you've got like teams playing badminton, like Wisconsin. Their staff was playing badminton. Their players were throwing around the football. Then you had like Texas is playing kickball. They have spike ball. So they got all these things. And they're escorted from their hotel there. They get however long it is, a half an hour, whatever, do whatever they want. And then they go back, they get escorted back. And
like the rec time at the prison, a walk in the yard.
Yeah, it did have a little bit of that feel.
Wow. By the way, I got to tell you a quick Victory Field story. I've been there for a couple of games, and in one of them, Drew Henson hit the game-winning home run in the 12th inning.
Really?
For the Columbus.
Wow.
That's one of my milestone games. It'll be recorded in my forthcoming book.
Great quarterback. Talented quarterback.
Well, he vied with Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
But
crazy.
I saw him hit this game-winning home run in the 12th inning. So there you go.
So
Nice,
yeah, so
nice ballpark.
It's been a weird experience, Bob. It's been a weird experience.
Oh, I can't even imagine. I won't say I can imagine because I can't imagine.
I'm happy for these kids. And again, most of the kids, the weird part is, okay, so a lot of these kids don't know any better. Like Cade Cunningham doesn't know any better. He's a freshman. His whole season has been somewhat like this, right? Like, don't go out. You're testing every day. Don't go out. Don't do anything stupid. You know, I don't know how many fans they have in Stillwater, but he'll have similar amount of fans probably in games in Stillwater than he'll have this weekend. So the seniors, it's different. Like the guys who have been in the NCAA tournament before, then it's different. But a lot of the freshmen and sophomores, those guys they didn't play in a tournament last year, the sophomores. Right. And this year they're getting a completely different experience.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So we got a strange game. We got that game in which to combine 13 national championships, although the idea of UCLA is so out of it now. You know, people have, if you're 30, if you're 20, forget about it. If you're even 30, you have no feel for the UCLA thing. Yeah. You know, you don't know, what it was all about. And so they're not a relevant player the way they should be, frankly, and they're not. Can Mick Cronin? Quickly, Mick Cronin, is he the answer?
I think give him more time. It's year 2. The good thing about Mick Cronin is he's a really good coach. He did a great job at Cincy rebuilding that thing. He did it with toughness and grit. If he can find a way to mesh that toughness and grit that he had at Cincy with the, I don't want to say soft, but skilled California players, then he's got something going.
Be careful now. You don't want to be.
Exactly. I don't want to call him soft. I don't want to do that. Okay. But they were supposed to have a kid this year, Bob. If you remember, they had a kid coming named Deshaun Nix, and he was all set to come and play at UCLA, and he was like a Lonzo Ball type point guard. And and instead he went the G League route. He went that G League Ignite route. So that hurt them big time. They got another good point guard in Tiger Campbell, but if they had both of them, man, they would have been really good. And Nix decided to do it right before the start of the season, so it crushed Mick Cronin.
I remember that. Yeah.
So what did you think of the referee story?
Well, when I first, I'm going to just throw the ball in your court because you got the stuff. But when I first heard it, one of the names, before they decided they're not going to tell us who that infamous 6 were, was Teddy Valentine. Yeah. And I know, and I thought there were people applauding all over America. We don't have to worry about getting Teddy Valentine and showboating our game. Yeah. Now so he's either the most famous or infamous referee in college basketball in our time.
Right? I like Teddy. I actually really like Teddy.
I know you do. I don't know him. I just know, the reputation.
Yeah. He's entertaining. He's interesting. He was not the one who got COVID, just so you know. Okay. It was one of the other 5 refs that actually got COVID. I've talked to Teddy a lot since this all went down. And Teddy actually here's the thing that people don't know. All right, so let me give you the Cliff Notes version of what happened.
Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear it.
So the refs are staying at the Le Méridien here, okay? They come in and they check into their hotel Sunday night, okay? Big Ten tournament is over Sunday. So you have a bunch of people staying at that hotel. Well, I guess it's not completely cleared out. So their rooms aren't ready. And they don't have food for them. So they are, I guess, told they can go out and get food. Okay? Because they got nothing ready. Now, I think what should have happened was they should have had meeting rooms ready and brought in food or whatever and spaced them out 6 feet apart. Okay? Yeah. Instead, they went to Abe and Louie's, the steakhouse. And 6 of them ate together at Abe and Louie's. They come back. One of them tests positive that night. They test him again twice Monday morning. He tests positive twice more. They're told, you're out of the tournament. You guys are out because of contact tracing. You're out of the tournament. The refs are pissed because they feel like, hey, you know what? The rooms weren't ready. The food wasn't ready. And again, the rule was going to be once you get in the hotel, you're basically stuck in the hotel unless you're working a game. That's it. Now, again, they hadn't actually gone in, checked in the hotel, but I think it's a combination of both's fault in a way, right? I think the rooms obviously should have been ready. The food should have been ready. Even if the rooms weren't ready, they should have had a setup for them to eat dinner and stay there. And then there's some accountability probably in the refs too of, hey, you can't then go out for dinner and sit near each other knowing that if one of you tests positive, you're all going to be potentially tossed out of the tournament. I just don't understand. So Teddy's he got his second vaccine about a week ago, almost a week ago now. All right. He was he got it a few days before everything blew up here. But I think what the refs were trying to say is, well, why can players contact trace for 7 days and then be allowed to play, but you're kicking us out of the tournament? Why can't we be allowed to officiate starting the Sweet 16?
Yeah.
Because these are 6 of the best, Bob.
Yeah, no, that
Higgins,
makes sense.
Ayers, Valentine, John Gaffney, Kip Kissinger, Ray Natili. These are 6 of the best that we have.
I don't understand that either. That to me, that's a logical approach that should have been taken. I mean, this is a vast emotional overreaction on the part of the NCAA. I think to go that far. I mean, let's be practical here. That's a draconian response. I think. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So Teddy didn't want to leave.
So, but it does remind you of the precariousness of everything and how careful people have to be and we'll be damn lucky if that's the end of it, if we don't have any other subsequent. We've already got Oklahoma's going to lose a key player.
Yes,
right?
really good player.
Yeah, and it won't be the last. I mean, it's
Moses Wright. I broke it last night. Moses Wright, ACC Player of the Year, Bob, is out for Georgia Tech against Loyola. They won the ACC title. Just
how I missed that?
He's their best player.
Yeah, I know.
So he tested positive. So he's done probably for the tournament. I mean, he's not going to play at this point. Certainly not in the first round game, not in the first weekend. So, and these kids have been here in the hotel, not allowed to roam freely, I don't think, within their hotels, but they are allowed to move around a little bit. And the coaches have told me, like, yeah, we see other coaches, we pass other teams, we talk to other coaches when we pass them. Because we haven't seen these guys, a lot of these coaches in 2 years. There's been no Final Four last year, no recruiting. So they're talking to each other. Now, again, with masks on, but, you got players. It's not a bubble, I guess is what I'm saying. It's not a bubble. So I feel like hopefully we'll be okay here and it won't permeate through a bunch of teams. But I don't think we're done. I don't think we're done seeing positive tests.
Oh no, we probably aren't. And I don't want to, human beings. So I don't want to say, well, what if player X on Gonzaga gets as opposed to a player X on Norfolk State, or somebody who's going to be for a couple of games. No, you don't want to go that route.
All right, give me the storyline that you are most looking forward to see with this NCAA tournament, Bob. Is there something that you are just, is it Gonzaga running the table and having a chance to be the first undefeated team since Indiana and Bob Knight in '76? Is it Baylor? Is it, what is it for you?
All right, now go in this order. It is Gonzaga number one because of the fact that I'm a student of history. I love history. I love all kinds of history. And I was there in Philadelphia in 1976. I was there for the game against Michigan, the first year that of the multiple teams from the same tournament, from the same conference being allowed in the tournament. And lo and behold, the Big Ten gets 2 finalists. In Indiana and Michigan. So I was there, and Bob Knight was my. He can't, even in victory, he was snarky because he saw that Quinn Buckner got named to the all tournament team, and he didn't, and he had to have a remark that he didn't think the media was smart enough to do that, or words to that effect. Even in this moment of glory, then
no
all
shot.
right, okay. So anyway, 45 years.
Yep.
And we've seen how few teams have even gotten this far,
right?
And undefeated. And I think the pressure will mount with each game about the weight of the history, the thing. and they'll try to ignore it and downplay it. And in their case, they have two things going on. They've got that, and they've got their own saga, as this thing is built over 22 years that they're being in this tournament consecutively, and multiple number one seedings, and of a one trip to the V game where they laid a brontosaurus egg with one of their worst games, if not their worst game they played all year, on the wrong night. I mean, I like to think if they play, 4 out of 7, they would have won, or 3 out of 5, but they didn't. They stunk that night. Anyway, these kids aren't privy to that, but the fans know. You know what it's like. See, players, all athletes, they only know what it's in their moment. Fans bring the history. Fans bring the history. And
also, good point. You're right. Players wouldn't know. Yeah.
I mean, it's like with the Red Sox. When they finally, all those Red Sox teams over the years, as it mounted and finally got to 86 years.
Johnny Damon had no idea.
In our issue, I wasn't there in 1946 when we lost to the Cardinals in 7. Right. I wasn't there in 75. But the fans, if you weren't there, your grandfather was, and they told you all about it. Anyway, Gonzaga has this going for them now, against them now. Yeah. They've got this history. Yeah. So there's no other team in this tournament with the dual pressures that they have at this moment in time.
Which is
and and I know they're good enough to overcome all this.
Yeah, but it's crazy that we're talking Gonzaga, the favorite, the heavy. I mean, imagine if I had told you this 10 years ago, Bob. Gonzaga, the favorite, heavy favorite to win the national title, you would have been like, no chance that ever happens. They're always going to be Cinderella. They're a great program, but they're never going to be able to compete with Kentucky and Duke. And right now we've got Kentucky and Duke, Kay and Calipari, watching this tournament as observers like you and me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's number one. Number two is it's been a year of the Big Ten as well as the Big 12. I understand that they've been great too, but the Big Ten has gotten a little bit more of the publicity for being great than the Big 12 has. Okay, I think that's a fair statement. And I know I've seen more of the Big Ten, and I can't believe how many good teams are in the Big Ten. But one has risen a little bit to the top, and that's Illinois. I know Michigan's a number one seed too, but because of the liver situation, right, I have to eliminate them. I'm sorry. There's only going to be a limit. It's so sad. It's too damn bad, because they could easily have gone to win a championship. But right now, I think Baylor have never regained what they were before the 3-week COVID layoff.
I talked to Scott Drew yesterday, Bob. I talked to him for a while yesterday. I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah, go ahead.
A quick story. So yesterday I get my credential, and you're allowed to go in the what do you call it? The convention. You're allowed to go in as media. You're allowed to go in the convention, but you're limited where you can go. And nobody's in there. They're not ready because there's no games in Lucas Oil this weekend. So nothing's ready, but the teams are practicing in Lucas Oil. They've got 2 courts set up. They've got it broken up into 2 courts.
Yeah.
I guess for the first games at Lucas Oil they're tomorrow. Yeah, they're Friday. So they still got a couple more days, or they had a couple more days yesterday. So I walked through and nobody's really there. Like I can't get to the court. They have security there, but there's an elevator. So, being me, I go up the elevator, right? Like, let me check some stuff out here. Nobody's telling me I can't. So I go up, top floor, the suite level. You can't see anything because you got to have the combination to punch in to get in any of the suites. I go down a level, 300 level. I'm fine. I'm watching Baylor practice. I'm not supposed to, but I'm watching Baylor practice. I'm seeing. Exactly. I told David Warlock, I said, listen, if you want me to come on as security, I got no problem. If you want to pay me a few extra bucks and I'll help out and do a dual role and help you with security, I got no problem. I love Warlock. So I kind of told them that. So hopefully they'll stiffen up the security a little bit. But so I talked to Scott Drew later. He actually waved to me from the 300 level. I was way up. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
But what he said was, listen, we played so many games after coming back from the pause in such a short time. We didn't have time to practice. It was prepare, play a game, prepare, play a game every day. So he said, we finally had time to practice here. We've had 3 good days of practice in a row. I think our defense will be much better than it was coming back from the pause.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Because, there was a point in time when I was advocating that Gonzaga and Baylor should just break off and go on a 7-game barnstorming tour of America. And, but now I would substitute Illinois for Baylor at the moment in that.
Yeah, I mean, Illinois is playing better. They are. Listen, there's nothing wrong with that.
And my new favorite player, Andre Curbelo. And that kid is so electrifying. He's just sheer fun.
Yep.
I think, so I hope I alert people to him. This is a kid from Christ the King, right? He's from Long Island anyway. I don't know if he's from Christ the King. I'm not sure, but he's a New York.
Yeah, he's got a lot of fun to his game.
He's a slightly built kid, he's gritty, he's smart, he's a pest, and he's a good one. All right. Anyway, so then the other thing, of course, is I'm so sad that if Loyola beats Georgia Tech, and I don't think that's inconceivable, even though Georgia Tech is the ACC champion. Who knew, right? Hi, Josh. Congratulations. I'm very. That's nice. They go up against Illinois right away.
I know.
That's too damn bad because I love Loyola, and not because of Sister Jean, but I love Cameron Krutwig, and I want to just congratulate him for staying there, because I'm telling you, when I saw them in 2018, I said, well, that kid's out of there. Somebody's going to steal him. Some bigger schools, some Power 5 team is going to poach him, and he'll never get through that. This is it. Hey, and here he is 3 years later, senior leader, a nice player, good player. I don't know if he's an NBA player, but he's certainly a Europe player.
Yeah, I don't think he's an NBA guy, but man, you're right.
But he knows how to play the game. He's physically limited. He's not a great athlete, but he knows how to play basketball. I love guys like that. That's why I love college basketball. So and I'm just thinking anybody else. I like Iowa. Once again, a Big Ten. I love
Who did you pick? Well, let's get your final four.
Gonzaga. My final four was Gonzaga, Alabama, Baylor, and Illinois. I know it's so chalky, and I just couldn't figure out. Florida State would probably be as opposed. I got Alabama beating Florida State, but not surprisingly, and I know there's another team in that down there that could be upset everything, and that's Texas. And I know you like Texas.
I do. I picked Texas. I went kind of chalk too. I went Gonzaga, Baylor, Illinois, Texas.
Yeah.
And I'm taking Baylor to win it all. I'm going to take them to get their mojo back and beat Gonzaga in the title game.
Well, I got nothing against Scott Drew and Baylor, and I like watching him play too. But goddamn, I want Gonzaga to do it. I just do.
Listen. I'll take either Gonzaga or Baylor winning it all, and I think
as somebody who's had a beer and Jack and Dan's, I want to see Gonzaga win. So
all right, we'll finish with one NBA note here, one topic, because I don't think we can avoid it, because now Kyrie Irving's Brooklyn Nets are tied atop the East with the Philadelphia 76ers. Robert, what do you think of that?
I think that I have to salute Mr. James Harden for carrying them to where they are in the absence of Durant and in the inconsistent appearances of Kyrie Irving, which, by the way, who's surprised? I'm not. Nobody. And the guy has reinvented himself into a dream player, because 40 and 15. You can't poo-poo that. Amazing. And it's not the first time he's had a box score with 40 and 15 assists. He's leading the league in assists. I never would have believed it. And I mean, I know he always had assists. Remember, we were kidding earlier in the year. We talked, and I said, I know he has assists, but I think what he's done is bribe all the scorekeepers, because I don't remember any of those assists in other years. You know what I'm saying? It always was dribble down to 18 on the clock and then make a move, go to the basket or step back for the three. But obviously he's giving the ball up to people so they can take full advantage of it. He's been remarkable. You talking MVP? I'm sorry, it has to start with him right now. I don't care with you. And that's all due respect to Giannis and LeBron and Curry and Doncic. I'm sorry. Now I'm I don't want to like him, but he's making me.
Can I read you the players that played alongside him last night in their win against Indiana?
Okay.
I'm going to read you this team. You're going to be blown away. I mean, Joe Harris, obviously a really good shooter. Bruce Brown, Boston's own Bruce Brown, who played at Vermont Academy and then went to Miami. Tough kid. He played 24 minutes. DeAndre Jordan starts in the middle. That's fine. Landry Shamet. He had 3 points last night. Their bench, Jeff Green, Nicholas Claxton. I bet you don't even know who Nicholas Claxton is. He played at Georgia. Talented big kid.
Big 6'10".
And I think Tyler Johnson.
Related to Speedy, by the way. Do you know?
He was not related to Speedy, I don't think.
Oh, that's
and then Tyler Johnson. Those were the guys who played minutes last night. Those were their top 8.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. By the way, Joe Harris is a tremendous complimentary player for them. I mean, he's shooting 50% on threes almost. If he is not, he's a tremendous complimentary player. I mean, he's the JJ Redick of our time now, of the new JJ Redick, except maybe even as good or maybe even better. He's 6'6" too. But anyway, I know you're right. It's a great story. It's a story. It's a really.
I mean, the question is, when it matters, what are they going to do? Like the regular season really is irrelevant for the Brooklyn Nets for the most part. The question is, can they get to the NBA Finals? And really, seeding doesn't matter this year because there's no even there will be fans, but it won't be as Don't we need this? Don't we need this NBA Finals matchup, Bob, this year? Like, don't we have to get Lakers Nets now?
I think, I don't ordinarily like to think in those terms, and I like to think in the network's terms of I like to just whoever bubbles up and like if Utah gets there or Phoenix Suns, I would love to see the Suns,
Sure.
get there myself. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It would be the best way to attract attention to a league that
even you, don't you want to see that matchup with that many great players in the court? And Kyrie, can he, what would he be like in the NBA Finals? And I don't know. I just, there's a lot of great storylines.
Well, exactly. The LeBron thing, just continues to, just dazzle people. Speaking. By the way, we welcome him into the Boston ownership community.
Wow.
You know that.
Does that mean
that? LeBron buys.
Are you and he going to be hanging, you think, in the press box one day or something?
No, you never know. I mean, but he's better not be wearing that Yankee hat, though. You better put that in the closet.
That's right.
But he's something. This is an interesting story. Yeah, for people who don't know, LeBron James has bought into Fenway Sports Group, so he's now who also owned the Liverpool team. And now he did. Is this a conflict of interest? Doesn't he have an interest in some football team across the pond already? I thought he did, but anyway,
I just can't wait to see him like at Fenway Park. Like it's gonna happen.
Got to show up now. He's got to. Oh yeah, he's got to.
He'll be there at some point this
Alex Cora was singing LeBron's praises yesterday, welcoming him and saying how much he admires him on and off the court, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what's happening in the end. And by the way, the Utah Jazz came in and kicked the Celtics' ass, and Phoenix Suns continue to roll on.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Celtics are still, it's like spinning their wheels a little bit.
Oh,
you don't feel good about them. You feel like they're just mediocre. They're honestly look at them now, and you're like, they're probably.
I think you have to be very judicious with the famous Parcells phrase.
Yep.
Because I don't believe in it as a rule, that you are what your record says you are. There were many mitigating circumstances.
100%.
But you and I have watched this team to know that if there ever was a team that is what its record says it is, based on the way they have gotten to this point in time, it is the 2020-21 Boston Celtics, right?
It's frustrating because, again, they have more talent on their top 4 guys, but their bench it's just okay. I talked to Danny Ainge a little bit the other day. He actually called me. Micah Shrewsbury got the Penn State job, and Micah was with Brad at Butler and with the Celtics. And Danny was singing his praise. He loves it.
Yeah, everybody loves happy for Micah Shrewsbury. I know.
Great guy, like incredible human being. And Danny we were talking about some things, and one of which was he was asking me why a lot of NBA assistants aren't in the mix for more college head jobs. And I agree with him to some extent because NBA assistants grind it out. Like I'm not a proponent of, again, the former NBA player who's made $100 million being a college coach, but an NBA assistant I think wouldn't be bad. The one difference, they'll work and they'll work at recruiting. The one difference is they don't have all the contacts in the relationships right away. So you got to hire a staff. But we're talking about that a little bit. And then obviously I asked him about the team and, what he thought he was going to be able to do here down the stretch. And it just sounds like he'd like to add a piece if he could, but I don't think he feels like optimistic that they're going to make some major deal or anything like that at this point.
By the way, I hadn't realized Brad Stevens goes back with Micah Shrewsbury to high school.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they go back to high school, and he's known him since he was 15, 16 years old, and says he was always a leader and a guy that he would even look up to at that point in time. So the Penn State people, sounds like they've got themselves a good guy.
You got a good one. I guess we cannot, Bob, finish this podcast without talking about your Boston College Eagles and their hire as a head coach. Earl.
Well, you have to tell me, like I just know Earl Grant's record, and I know that, and I don't know. I don't have any buzz on. I don't personally until the last few days when I picked up some. I had no buzz on Earl Grant prior to this.
Yeah, he was kind of like the ultimate dark horse candidate. I'd been told his name a couple days before it happened, and honestly, just tossed it out. I was like, all right, Damon Stoudemire, Earl Grant, and a guy named Rob Lanier at Georgia State were all thrown out to me.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, all right, they're all kind of guys that he's interviewing. Pat Kraft, who's the new AD at BC, but he's going to hire Mark Schmidt at the end of the day. Like, this is a layup. An alum who's done an unbelievable job at St. Bonaventure. And listen, all the power. I'm happy for Earl Grant. I hope he succeeds. I know you hope he succeeds, but he's got no experience in New England, nothing, zero, zilch. And in the best job in the CAA, College of Charleston, he went to one tournament in 7 years, and they have been mediocre the last couple of years. So it concerns me. It's a complete outside the box hire, and he better hire a good staff. Bob.
I have to tell you that this is the ultimate aside, but when I first found out that they were interested in Earl Grant, and I looked them up, and for me, Earl Grant is a guy who had a one-hit wonder song in the late 50s, a singer-organist, Earl Grant, The End, a great song. I recommend you can YouTube it, and this is the Earl Grant I knew, and I always so that's all. I just had to throw that out there. The End. Yeah.
What type of music was it?
It was a ballad, a very good ballad. So it was in the late 50s. It was a
what was it called?
The End.
Was it Fly to the
End?
Moon?
By Earl Grant.
Till the end of time?
No, not till the end of time. The End.
The End? Hold on.
It's just called The End. Not till the end of time. I could sing that one too, but you don't want me to.
I want you to sing The End.
I don't. At the end of the story. Ba 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 ba.
Here we go.
End of the story. And he's an organist too.
Is that it, Bob?
I know it. That's it.
All right.
It was a
pretty good.
Now what?
There it is. Earl Grant, you have it.
Earl.
The other Earl Grant.
You're the other Earl Grant.
Love it. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to get out. I'm going to see if anybody's actually arrived here in Indy.
Oh,
see what the atmosphere is.
An adventure. This is an adventure.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I love adventures.
Listen, it's going to be a lot of fun, Bob. Again, if you catch me complaining, yell at me because I don't want to be.
I want to point out, I'm at 6:00. I am turning on the Mount St. Mary's game because I want to see Chung Kuo.
Yes,
again.
He's really good guard.
He's an excellent little guard.
Yeah, he is. All right, there you have it. Ryan and Goodman podcast. Make sure you tune in next week. Again, we will have.
Well, I don't want to get the Asian community over my back here.
You got it.
Chung Kui. Okay.
There it is. And we'll talk soon.
Take care. At the end of the story.